Welcome into another episode of the Patriots Podcast. I'm Sean with Ryan and JJ.
Hello.
What's up?
Thank you all for tuning in. Please remember to like and subscribe, rate and review. Help support this podcast, especially going through one of the darkest periods as Patriots fans. I don't know about you guys. I'm still like craving content. I'm still reading articles and I'm still engaged and interested in this team, even though they're putting out dog shit product on the field every week. It was at the very least in this game, they scored points. They scored they put up a non-zero number in terms of their own score. They got in the end zone. They made it a close game. They had a chance for a potential game-winning drive at the end. So there's a lot of things that were moving in the right direction in this game. Ultimately, not enough to go into Las Vegas and come out with the win. Still a lot of the same issues. You know, we couldn't block Max Crosby all night, even no matter how many resources we threw at it. So just right there, the Achilles heel of the offense and the team as a whole. But when you're watching the game, James, are you taking away positive things from this game? Are you feeling even deeper in depression at this point?
You know, obviously because of the schedule coming up, it's tough to feel good about where they are the next two games, but we'll get into that. And just staying to this game, it was a tough one. I mean, you know, the first half looked like a lot of the same thing. They started getting things going. Ultimately, like you said, it wasn't enough. Brian Hoyer came in for the second half. It was really lining up for the Patriots to be able to get a win here and go 2-4. They couldn't do it. I mean, there was a litany of issues all over the place. As you mentioned, offensive line. First off, you come out with the offensive line. It's Antonio Mafi, Sidy Sow, Vidarian Lowe at both guards and right tackle spot again. Vidarian Lowe, not much of a surprise, but Mafi, Reef is already back on the IR or injured or something. It's like, it's almost like a joke there. It's pretty comical. They come out immediately. First series, like, let's go. Let's see what the start over did, right? And they immediately have two penalties. They go back. It's like 3rd and 20 or something, 3rd and 7, something ridiculous. And I heard Bill O'Brien talk about it. He said it was a ridiculous start. It's like a ridiculous way to start. It is, and it seemed like they started getting their running game going a little bit. I don't think they stuck with it enough. But, Ramondre and Zeke both had averaged over 4 yards a carry for this game, which is a big trend in the right direction. I think they got away from it too early. They got, we were down 13-0 or whatever it was immediately, 10-0. I don't remember exactly what the score was. We got the 3 at the end of the half. What was it?
It was 10-0.
10-0. So, and then, I mean, immediately, it's the first quarter. It's like, stick to your guns, stick to the run. Get the run going. You could clearly run on this team. And we didn't. We got into the, spread it out, get going a little bit. And it ended up working in the second half, which was nice. And even a little bit in the first half. I mean, they did get the 3, but like it's immediately they go down. It's the same as the last however many weeks in a row we've been talking about this, getting behind and playing catch up. And even though they had to do that, I thought they should have stuck with the run more. They, like we said last week, and you saw it a little bit start to progress. The line, they were blocking a little better with the run plays. Second half, Max Crosby was an issue, but there were plenty of times where Mac had a clean pocket. He was able to throw it. Kendrick Bourne had a really good game. I thought Zeke had a great game. He had that great screen pass, little whatever outrun, whatever that pass was, took it to the house. And Hunter Henry, it's like everybody, Hunter Henry seemed like the guy who was kind of solid. He made a big penalty. There were big penalties all around. I mean, you were constantly giving them third downs when they couldn't convert. I mean, they looked terrible.
Yeah,
you did a great job against Davante Adams.
Yeah.
You shut him down, but Brian Hoyer comes in. He played better than Garoppolo.
Yeah.
First series throws a bomb down the field. It's like, oh my God, is he about to shred us? I thought he was going to give one up just to, for the hell of it, because it's the Patriots. Mac, I don't think this was his loss. He had a terrible interception. You can't, it's like those continue, but he did settle down in the second half. And, that cost you points for sure. And you could say that cost you the game, but when the money was on the line, we had the ball, 2 minutes left. He placed a fucking dime to Devontae Parker, who completely whiffed on it and didn't take ownership. I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And then Mac got sacked twice, or there was a penalty, and then he got sacked in the end zone. So it was like, I give Mac a lot of credit for taking the sacks this week, as opposed to running all over the place and throwing terrible interceptions. And I know that's like not a great thing to say. I'm sorry, I keep going and going here, but I'll let Ryan have a second in a moment here. But
I mean,
he took the sacks and he didn't try. There was that one bad pick. He tried to make too much happen. Then he settled down. He stopped. And everyone's like, "Oh, the safety's on him." It's like, is it on him? He was getting crushed all game. He's been getting crushed all season. I know it's the last play, just get rid of it, but he had 3 seconds and he was done. He got completely collapsed upon. And it's like, well, what do you want him to do? It's the end of the game. I don't want him to throw a pick six there. I don't want him to just throw it up and them intercept it and run in the end zone. He was doing that more in this game, just kind of like, okay, I don't have the time. If I feel pressure and I can't get rid of it safely, I'm just going to hit the deck. And he did. And I give him a little credit for that. I do. I honestly do.
Yeah. I didn't really think this game was on Mac. I mean, he had a couple bad plays. I think he had 2 or 3 actually, like turnover-worthy plays. One of them he got away with. The rollout to the right, find
Montgomery.
Hunter Henry in space, overthrow. That was a physically a bad throw, and then he had one later in the game that was just like a horrible read. I was looking at some of the numbers for our offensive linemen. My God, watching Verdarian Lowe in this game was like watching a third grader play against an NFL player. It was the most blatant mismatch I think I've seen
in a long time.
on an NFL field. It was pathetic. It was honestly pathetic. And I mean, just going through some of the PFF grades and where they rank positionally, Riley Reif. So 111 guards qualify. Riley Reif is 47th, not even playing. Cole Strange, 87th, not playing. Onwenu, 98th, just not. I don't know what's going on. City Sao is 105th out of 111.
And so, like, the number 1 spot is the best. Number 1 is the best.
Yes.
111 is the worst. So we're all
111 is
bad.
the worst. Antonio Maffi is 109th, and I don't know how there's 2 guys worse. David Andrews is 22nd of 49, and the tackles, Trent Brown is somehow 4th of 113, which
is shocking.
I got a little high for me.
Fourth.
Yeah. I thought I saw 6th ranked on another metric the other day.
That can't be right.
I mean, he had a great game this game. He did.
I thought he was
when you
good.
Look at it, he didn't let up a pressure apparently.
Well, Max Crosby was on the other side the entire game.
Yeah. Well, that's why.
Because they know that. It was funny. I was sitting next to my wife watching the game, and she's like looking at Max Crosby, like that guy with the tattoos. It's almost like he has a force field. Like they're not even allowed to touch him.
Yeah,
he's just walking by people.
He's just too quick.
So there's 113 tackles that qualify. Somehow Trent Brown's 4th. I don't know if they don't weigh penalties heavily enough, because he's had a bunch of penalties.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Anderson's 102nd of 113, and Verdarian Lowe is 105th of 113. I find that shocking that there's 8 guys worse than Verdarian Lowe.
Well, and you know what the best part of it is, when you do the math, right? There's 2 tackles starting on each team. There's 32 teams. So there's 64 starters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the list is obviously overgrown to 111, as you said, or whatever, 113, whatever it is for tackles. Same with guards, because of the backups. Backups have to come in and they have to play and they get rating. Mm-hmm. So our 2 guys who have started at right tackle are the lowest of the low for backups.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they are at the bottom end of the spectrum for backups.
It's bad.
This is officially the worst unit in the NFL. Our offensive line is worse than any secondary, than any skill position group, than any defensive front. It's the worst unit in the NFL.
We were very excited that we brought in a real offensive line coach.
Doesn't seem to be working.
Adrian Clem, it's not working. So I don't know when.
It's got to be. I mean, is it the talent or is it him? Because a lot of these names are the same as the names last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Isaiah Wynn is your only difference, your big difference, anyway.
We've seen
Cole Strange has barely played. Onwenu has been out of the lineup. Riley Reif has suited up for maybe a game and a half.
But even when those guys were in there, they were terrible.
They were terrible when they were in. Yeah,
it's like we've seen these guys all perform at a really high level. You know, you could say David Andrews is aging. You know, Trent Brown, whatever they you know, I guess he's been okay. I don't think 4 is quite right, but
I mean, I'd put more. I'd say more in the teens. You know, he looks like an average left tackle in the NFL. I'd give him.
He's fine. Strange, I mean,
hasn't played.
Hasn't really played. And
he's the big
when
one.
he was in there, looked horrible.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe
Now's
everyone's banged up.
Strange.
That's the other
to me
thing
is
I
the
noticed.
big.
We're getting so many injuries.
Yeah.
Anytime
definitely.
someone makes a play, like Jonathan Jones or Keon White, make a play, we get a concussion instantly.
Yeah.
Juju Smith makes a play, concussion.
Demario Douglas.
Yeah, I just feel like
half our offensive line, our 2 best players on our entire roster, Judon and Christian Gonzalez, out for the year.
Out for the year.
We're decimated.
Marcus Jones is a big loss too, because
punt returns.
Those punt returns and just gadget plays. You could use him in the offense, use him in the slot on defense. I really don't even want to talk about the defense this week because I just feel like they're okay. They're good enough.
I want to touch on them because I had absolutely no confidence they were going to get off the field at any point in this game. They start the game giving up a 16-play drive. Also, the Raiders, horrific in the red zone. I think they were 1 for 6 in this game. Absolutely horrendous. This should have been a 20-point game if they were even a 50-50 in the red zone. 16-play drive to start it off. They kick a field goal. Then they're driving all the way to the red zone. Interception, that tipped ball. Finally, we get a takeaway on defense. Great, unbelievable hit by Peppers.
What a hit, dude.
Peppers hits. That seems the only way we can get a turnover is when he just knocks somebody's sock off.
I feel like Peppers has been a lot of fun to watch, despite a lot of fucking garbage we've been watching. Peppers to me is still fun to watch, even though
he's a missile. He had a great play.
I don't really like him on
great tackle
teams.
in the backfield. He scares me on punt return. He seems like an absolute wild card on punt return. Yeah. So Raiders were driving both of those times. Then they go in for their touchdown. We stop them for a punt, and then they get a field goal before halftime. Field goal, and then a 20-yard drive for a punt in the fourth quarter. I mean, we barely stopped them. They were moving the ball the entire game. Granted, Tony Romo was calling this out on the game that I think we were playing with our number 4 corner and downward from there in terms of the depth chart. Jack Jones back at practice this week. That'll help. Jonathan Jones gets hurt in this game, so who knows what that means. But without Judon, our pass rush is non-existent. We did a pretty good job stopping the run, but ordinarily we're not great in that area. I thought Tavai had one of his best games of the season.
Tavai had a good game. Uche and White both got hurt in this game too. That hurts your pass rush.
Barmore had a great game.
Yeah,
Barmore
was
arguably your best player on the field on either side. He had 2 tip passes that were big plays. He had a bunch of run stuffs. He looked like he was tough to handle. Even Godja, I'll give Godja. I've given him a lot of shit this year. He looked decent. I liked how they went heavy up front. If you guys noticed that the first formation, was Lawrence Guy kind of playing a defensive end, like a down defensive end with Godja and Barmore in the middle, and then you had Keon White on the outside and Anthony Jennings too. Anthony Jennings was making a lot of plays. We're down to him. I thought he played really good. I thought overall the defensive line played decently. Like you said, the pressure's an issue.
There's no pressure.
Uche is now hurt too. Mm-hmm. So Uche, Keon White, Judon, those were your 3 specialty pass rushers, and all 3 of them are now hurt. So, Jennings is more of a run stuffing, set the edge guy, and he got a little bit in there. I mean, it wasn't like he was a non-factor on rushing. Juwan Bentley was arguably your best pass rusher.
Bentley's a good blitzer, but he blitzes like the A and B gap. He's not an edge. He's not an edge rusher.
I mean, I thought the defense played good enough to win. I do. I think I was, hoping for one Brian Hoyer turnover. I figured that was an absolute guarantee to happen, and it never did. He actually played a really solid game, which sucks because the last 2 games he came in for us, he looked like putting me out there, just throwing a guy out there off the street. That's literally what he looked like.
Well, didn't he lasted like 3 plays in that game, didn't he? Against the Packers last year?
There was the Packers, and I'm thinking of the Chiefs. What was that, 2 years ago, maybe?
2 years ago. Oh, the Cam Newton game,
He
was it?
completely blew the end sequence to get down and get a touchdown. He called a timeout when they didn't have one. They got a penalty from it. It drove them back. They didn't get a field goal or a touchdown.
Yeah. The penalties for us, man.
So bad.
They're fucking backbreaking. That one with Elliott where he had the 75-yard touchdown and Henry.
That hurt.
Henry with the hold. It was like we needed that. We needed that for so many different reasons, not just in the game, but just for like the whole team. The
momentum and a big
confidence.
Play finally.
That was brutal, man. And then just starting off the game with 2 penalties, and then our first and second down on the second series, 1-yard run, 2-yard run, and then we get a 5-yard penalty or something like that. And it's like, okay,
it's
just
so
fucking punt. We should just start punting on 3rd down. You know what I mean?
I mean, on one of those drives when we got to the red zone, I think it was the second to last one, the 9-minute drive when we got to the red zone with I think 5 or 6 minutes. You know, it's like we get down there,
3.5 left.
We don't get it. We get a penalty. They put us at the 1. It takes us a minute. When I was like, kick it. Just fucking kick it with 5 minutes left. Can we just kick the field goal and keep moving?
The clock is running. We're taking
we're
40
running
seconds of play
time.
clock.
I know, dude. That was bad.
Why?
And, you know, part of it is just maybe they don't have the horses. Maybe they know they can't run that. I mean, offensive talent. You know, your running backs, as we mentioned, are starting to come through. Your receivers, man, it shows up more and more often every single game. The further we get into this season, Devontae Parker is, I mean, for the amount of snaps that dude is fucking getting in his production, besides the catch aside, forget about the catch. He should have had that. I was really pissed off when I heard what he said after, and we can talk about that. But just his amount of time on the field, the amount of snaps that dude gets, and the amount of plays they throw it to him. He can't do shit. He's not doing anything. He got 3 targets, 1 for 7, 1 went through his hands, and he's got what? I'm curious. How many yards does this dude have on the year? And we gave him an extension.
He's got 136 yards on the year. He's got 13 catches on the year.
136.
I would love to see averaging how many snaps. Like,
I bet he's playing 65% of the snaps.
More.
The year.
This is the least amount he's played in like 3 or 4 weeks since he was injured in week 1. Jeez. And he was playing basically 100% of the snaps, 90 to 100% of the snaps. This game he paid like 80%.
Yeah. Well, James, you've alluded to it a couple times. What did he say after the game?
Yeah, so after the game, you know, he, as I set the stage, first down, we throw it to him. It's a bomb 40 yards down the field. Probably Mac Jones' best throw of the year, I'd say, arguably.
Easily. It was perfect.
Absolute dime, goes right through his hands. After the game, they asked him, what happened? He goes, I don't know. What did you see? And they go, well, it looked like you got behind the defense. He goes, yeah, I got behind the defense. And then they're like, well, and he goes, next question. And they go, well, it looked like it hit your hands. Like, can you catch that? Can you not catch that? And he goes, I don't know. I think I can. It just is what it is. And it's like fingertips.
He said I would have had to catch it with my fingertips. Like, no, dude. Your hands were a foot away from your body. Not even. And it hit you.
Yeah, it's like right here.
On these fucking, what are these called? The palms of your fucking hands. Like,
I don't give a shit if it hit your fingertips. This is the fucking NFL. You're making $5 or $10 million a year. You catch the ball if it hits your fingertips.
We just gave him an extension.
Right? If you're a number 1 guy, you have to make that catch. So all that, I don't know if he doesn't like Mac Jones. I don't know if he doesn't want to play for Mac Jones. I don't know why he would have signed a deal if that any of that was a problem. You know, it's like, why would you sign an extension if you don't like the quarterback you're playing for and you know they're going to go with him?
No one else in the league is going to give him a 3-year extension. I don't understand that deal.
No.
He has done a grand total this year of jack shit. And
he's hurt. It's hurting us. If when you have a guy at your number 1, what does he play? The X or the Y? I don't know what the hell the difference is.
He plays the X.
He plays the X. When your number 1 at the X is doing such little production and he's supposed to be a guy. Now, granted, he shouldn't be there. He should be a 3, maybe a 3 or 4 receiver. Like, he's not a number 1. I thought he was a number 2, and he's clearly not. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but going forward, personally, if Douglas is back and healthy, I would put Thornton at the X and have Douglas and Bourne in there because
Yeah, that's the move.
I know that's the move, right? I know it's early, but you got to see what you got out of Thornton, kind of put his feet to the fire a little bit, see if you can get him getting some kind of thing going and see if he was worth the pick. He's got speed. And he ain't going to do any worse than one reception for 7 yards every week.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you can't do any worse than that.
He had a hard catch. Taekwon's one catch was a very difficult catch.
Out of bounds.
Yeah.
Out of bounds. It was not a good throw, really.
It was really bad throw.
He didn't give him a chance. I mean, Butte's fucking getting healthy scratched every week. I think he wants out. I guess he said something on his Twitter like "free me" or something like that.
Classic.
Oh, he did?
I didn't know about it. I just heard that on the radio or something. But he's a healthy scratch, and you bring in Jalen Reagor.
I wanted to see them give him a jet sweep. I mean, another guy.
Plays.
Yeah, he played. They didn't get. I was looking at it. I was like, who is that guy out there? I actually wrote on my notes last week. I didn't share it during the game, but I was like, why not elevate Jalen Reagor? See what he can give you in the return game and a jet sweep. And they put him in on offense. Never gave him a jet sweep. Use his speed.
I mean, if you play, maybe you get Booty in there. If you got Thornton in there, Douglas, and you obviously Bourne, he had a good game, 10 receptions, 89 yards. He was making good catches. He was getting open. He was doing his job. He had the long of 36 yards, which was nice. At least with those three guys, you're going to get some fight. You're going to get some guys that are trying to prove something and, make an effort out there, whether they make mistakes or they're in the right or wrong place. I mean, Devontae Parker on that little slant, it didn't look like we went to him again because he was lost. He was a deer in the headlights on a fucking slant route.
Yeah. It's a shame. The trade deadline's coming up here, and you're 1-5, and maybe you need to start making some decisions on some of these guys. I would love to get Parker out of here.
That's not going to happen.
Who's going to take him? No
one's going to take him at this point. I mean, that's selling as low as possible.
I would take a packet of chips.
Who do you think are good trade? I got some guys written down here. This one might hit you right in the gut, but Trent Brown. I mean, Trent Brown's he's our only good offensive lineman. He's in the last year of his deal. Left tackles aren't available. They're just flat out not available.
I just don't know what you're going to do. I don't know. Literally, I would do it. I don't know how you finish the season. Without him.
The other thing is
through all those quarterbacks. Again,
if he leaves in free agents, I think we're going to be they always say this: if you keep him and he leaves in free agency, you get a compensatory pick. But those things offset with new signings, and the fact that we have $90 million in cap space next year, we're going to fucking sign somebody. Yeah. So we're not going to get any compensatory picks out of this free agent class. So Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, Trent Brown, Kendrick Bourne, those are guys that have value to other teams that are in the last year of their contract.
Uche, did you say Uche? I feel like
I didn't say Uche. I really have nightmares that Uche is going to go to some team opposite a Judon-like pass rusher, and he's going to have 10 sacks in 9 games.
I can see that happening.
And we're just going to be pulling our hair out like we can't rush the passer. We traded away this guy, and he's absolutely lighting it up.
What about Onwenu?
You could do a Onwenu. I mean, I figured they're going to sign him, but
that's
selling low.
Yeah.
I think Gesicki makes a lot of sense. Pharaoh Brown is almost as productive as him. No, not for a trade.
Oh, yeah.
But
we don't use Gesicki very well.
I like Gesicki.
I like him too. We just don't use him.
We don't use him. And he went in to fill in for Hunter Henry on that last play with the fucking safety to help Federian Lowe, and he just fell down. He didn't do anything.
That matchup was
that was brutal.
I was watching it the whole game. I couldn't stop watching it. It was just a joke. It was like watching a cartoon or something. Anyway,
any other trade candidates?
I'd say Phillips on defense or Jalen Mills. I know you're not going to get much for him, but someone safety need. Mac Wilson, I'd fucking offload him tomorrow.
Lawrence Guy.
Of course, you want Lawrence Guy.
Everybody wants Lawrence Guy.
Dude, you ever just watch him? I just watch him, and it's like having an offensive lineman on defense, and he just takes up a guy. It doesn't go forward or backwards.
Maybe they should put him at offensive line.
It's too late for that. He's like 34.
Is it?
He's like 34.
I'd give him a shot. Put him at fucking guard or tackle. He can't be any worse than what we got going there now.
Just put a fucking giant sack of potatoes out there. It would be better than than what we have. You know,
I mean, and
Something
that's
to-
the thing that kills me about the offensive line. I was going to mention this too about Cole Strange. The biggest concern to me about everyone getting worse is Cole Strange. Yes, he's only been out there for what, a game or two, but he doesn't look any better than last year. He's a first round pick of last year. He's someone that should have an easy progression to be better and be a top 10, 15 guy. And he's not. I know he's been hurt, but that goes to coaching to me. That goes to your offensive line. That goes to Adrian Clem. And it's, the recipe for, having a successful young quarterback is usually build the offensive line around him. Get a solid offensive line, and we haven't. We've done the opposite.
Yeah. Is there a scenario where a lot of these injuries resolve themselves in the next couple weeks? And we know the Bills and Dolphins are our next two matchups. Those are going to be fucking brutal. But is there a scenario where Jonathan Jones, Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, Cole Strange, Michael Onwenu, Riley Reif, these guys all get healthy? Trent Brown gets his chest figured out, whatever's going on there. Our running backs get a little bit healthier. Is there a scenario where we get all these guys back, Uche, Keon White, and we actually have a team that's not bottom 3 in the league, but maybe bottom 10 in the league?
Possibly.
That could happen, right?
It's only week 6. It's only week 7. Like we have a lot of football left. There's 11 games left to play. I mean, it's not looking too good, but you could go win 8 or 9 of those. It's extremely unlikely. I wouldn't bet on it, but it's in the realm of possibility, especially with the way the NFL. Look at this weekend.
I think ultimately you have
Jets
to be
beat the Eagles.
You have to be realistic about what the best you can do is for the season, and they're not making the playoffs. So, I mean, what's the point? A lot of these guys are old. Just fucking get them out of the building, start rebuilding, getting some young talent in here. I read an article that says the Patriots, value analytics less than 0 when scouting players. That's problematic. I mean, why would you not get as much information as you can on guys? So whether there's no reason to discount that information. If you don't think it's your top priority, fine, but at least take it into account. You know what I mean? Do your due diligence. Be responsible. You're getting paid, $20 million to be the coach / GM of this team. We have a figurehead GM, but he doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, it seems to me these are all Bill's guys, and Bill has to say on every one of them, and they're just not good enough. I can't even think of a player on this team we could get a lot for. Like, maybe Duggar or Barmore, maybe.
Yeah, those
Trent
are probably
Brown,
our two best assets.
I think you'd get a decent amount for Trent Brown just because he's been playing.
Especially if there's a contending team that has a tackle that gets hurt.
Has a need. Yeah.
Right. If the Chiefs lose a tackle or a team like that, even the Eagles just lost Lane Johnson, and their offensive efficiency goes in the tank when they lose Lane Johnson. Yeah, all pro right tackle. I mean, that's a spot. Who knows?
Maybe off season they might have to move on from Judon and get what you can for him, because it's just, I don't think the timeline fits with the rest of the team now.
That's true. He's in his 30s and still a fantastically productive player.
I don't like the way Trent Brown comes out to play with no socks on, shirt totally untucked. Like, am I being petty, or is that just like it? To me, it just looks like, fuck this. You know what I mean? Like,
he needs to get one false start under his belt, and then he's like, okay, I'm ready to play.
He had, as much as we want to shit on it, he's had a rough season. He had a really solid game. I know they switched he wasn't playing the best rusher by any means, but he wasn't a problem. I mean, Rye, I agree with you to a certain extent, but I feel like I got to go back and refer to what Sean has said, that if you kind of just mail it in for the rest of the season and you don't try and you don't accumulate any wins, it's kind of tough to get some of these guys back.
What do you mean? Like, these guys heads back into next season?
That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that if you have a new,
if
you have a new regime in here, it's probably a lot easier.
If what?
If you have a new regime in.
That's the big topic over the next couple months.
It might not be a new regime, man.
I doubt it will be, but it definitely could be.
It could be, but I'm
leaning towards it will be, because
I think
everyone's Kraft has had it with this shit.
Dude, Kraft can talk all he wants in all this bullshit in the media. Everybody, I guarantee in the beginning of this year, he said, Bill, we're putting up a $250 million screen this year. Like, let's keep the spending down. And Bill said, okay. And they're going to walk into the offseason and Bill Kraft's going to say, what happened? Well, the talent we had didn't do it clearly. You know, I maybe slipped a little bit, but we spent no money. They
250 million for Bob Kraft is not as much as I think
I don't know, dude.
Like.
These owners are cheap as fuck.
Some of these guys, these $6 billion franchises, like just look at it's a different kind of thing. It's apples to oranges, but you look at soccer. I mean, some of these teams spend $500 million on just buying players every year.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's also
and they
like
have
you're saying,
20 players.
You know, different contracts. You're right, smaller rosters. There's different things about it, but you know, Kraft has said, you know, we can go. You know, Bill has never had to say no to players, but Bill has a budget, and you know, I know 98.5 talks about it a lot. That the biggest sell job that anybody ever did was that Kraft doesn't get in trouble for the team spending, meaning like nobody goes after Kraft for how much they go. Bill's not spending. Bill's not building the roster with money. And, you know, he's not using any money. It's like you look at the roster's spending. They're not spending. They didn't spend. They could have spent this offseason. There was like 4 legit tackles out there, and they could have made a run. They tried to do the budget deal on all of them, and we can say, "Oh, Bill wants to do that." Bills went out and made splashes in free agency over the past 20 years, where he saw a player like Stephon Gilmore comes to mind immediately. 2017 or whatever, 2016. He didn't wait to see what Gilmore could get or nickel and dime him. He went out, he gave him the biggest contract offer, and Gilmore signed. So he knows that's how it worked. This year we heard, oh, you know, they were in on 1 or 2 tackles, and they were in on a receiver, but oh, you know, their contract wasn't there, the numbers weren't there. That I can't completely blame Bill. If they, you know, if he got the okay from Kraft, I guarantee we would have had one more, at least another guy in here that was, you know, big money. Not to say it would have made a huge difference, but I do believe that.
They do spend pretty much to the cap every year.
To the cap, but we don't spend ahead. We're not one of those teams that mortgages the future.
Right.
We have.
The other thing is you're looking to break the bank.
We have in the past. We did when we had a championship team.
Right.
I guess they didn't feel like this was a championship window.
That's another thing. Like you're not adding to this team to do anything right now. You're just adding to say you've spent money. But like, I just don't think when you sign guys in free agency and break the bank, they're usually older guys that have already gone through a contract. It's not like you're re-signing them. I think that's the bigger problem, is not re-signing the picks you do hit on,
right?
And letting them leave. Like Uche,
JC Jackson.
I mean, yeah, I know. Huh?
A lot of these guys come back for a much lower number.
I mean, between Owenu, Duggar, and Uche, you got to sign 2 of them. I'm leaning towards Duggar and Owenu.
Same.
Uche, you know,
I think he fits in other people's schemes better than ours. For whatever reason.
Like you even said, right? What was it, a week or 2 ago? We were like, oh, we're going to see a big uptick in Uche. We didn't.
Well, he got hurt.
He got hurt, but before that, you know, there was I think one game after Judon got hurt where we really didn't expand upon his role. They're like, he's a pass rusher. We're not putting him like he can drop into coverage. He's fast enough.
You're seeing Jennings in there to start the game a couple of weeks ago. It's like,
yeah,
why is he getting play over fucking Josh Uche? Josh Uche is twice the athlete. You know, like
he is, and you know he could drop into coverage. They're dropping Jennings into coverage. Like you definitely can drop Uche into coverage and have him rush the other times. I mean, they could figure it out, but they're not. He could play a similar role to Vibe, but they're not. You know, on early downs, anyways. So I don't know if they're going to sign him, but yeah, I think it's a spending issue. I think they didn't go out and they didn't get anyone. They could have traded for somebody, but you hear, oh, well, the Patriots aren't going to pay a receiver $15 or $20 million. It's like, that's the fucking going rate for a top 10, top 15 guy. That's just what it is.
Yep.
I know.
And you can't get all, and if you want to fix it, you can't get all those positions in the draft. Like you can't get a quarterback, a tackle, a wide receiver.
Definitely not.
You can try, but you're probably not going to hit.
Very, very fruitless effort.
Yeah.
So you got to do something in free agency at some point here.
Well, we'll have the money next year to do that, but we'll be building from the ground up. All right, let's talk about some of the other games from Week 6 here. A couple big. Let's start with the big upsets.
Big upsets.
Both the Eagles and the Niners go down. First losses of the season.
And
Niners,
the Bills. If you want to,
the Bills won. The Bills won.
Oh yeah, they did win in the end.
Yeah,
right,
they
right.
won at the very end Sunday night. We will get to that. That was the near upset right there. Bills already have a loss in the season going in. San Fran going to Cleveland is a game we highlighted last week, noting Cleveland's defensive prowess so far. I think I heard a stat that they have the fewest yards given up through 6 weeks. They have like a top 3 fewest yards given up through 6
just
weeks.
Over 1,000 yards or something.
in like 40 years. They're like top 3 to start the season. And they did it again to the Niners. Granted, the Niners lose Debo and Christian McCaffrey during this game.
And Trent Williams.
I thought he came back at some point, but he was hobbled. So they were missing some of their best players. That's the issue with the Niners is when they throw out those skill position players, they're unbeatable. But if you lose 2 of them, now you become very human. And some of the cracks in Brock Purdy start to show up. Browns did just enough on offense. It's not like PJ Walker was very good. I think he threw a number of interceptions in this game.
He did it when the game was on the line. He had the ball and he drove down and they scored. I mean, you got to give it to him.
They got a nice helping hand from the referees going down on that drive, and then the Niners missed the field goal at the end. Didn't really change the way I feel about the Niners, but those injuries are definitely something that could derail how dominant they are.
I want to say Jake Moody, their kicker, that's his first miss of his career so far. They got him in like the 3rd round. He was the 3rd round pick from Michigan. He had his whole family come up to Cleveland for that game.
Oh, no.
Brutal. Poor guy.
Oh, no.
Brock Purdy, though, this is his worst game as a pro so far, which is crazy.
First time he's lost a regular season game.
Yeah, 12 for 27, 125 yards.
Yep.
55 rating, 3 sacks. It's, it's tough losing McCaffrey and Debo. McCaffrey's been probably the best player in the league this year. I would say.
Yeah, best offensive player for sure.
And then the Eagles.
I just wanted to mention real quick. Talk about injuries. Purdy coming back down to earth, and it's like, so when you have all kinds of talent on offense and a nobody quarterback, he looks pretty fucking good. And then as soon as he loses 2 guys, he still has Brandon Ayuk out there. He still has George Kittle out there. They still have a pretty decent offensive line outside Trent Williams, and he looked terrible. Pretty damn pedestrian. So it's
great defense.
The proof in the great defense, but proof in the pudding right there. It's like, if we had some talent around Mac Jones, regardless of all these reports coming out, if we think he's going to be good or they didn't think he could improve, we didn't think we could build around him because it's not worth it. It's like what San Fran has done is a perfect roadmap for young quarterbacks. Build a squad around them and things will happen. You'll figure out the quarterback position. Someone will make it work to some extent. And Purdy looked terrible.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. The hit on Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't know how he got hurt.
About this.
His oblique got tapped.
Yeah.
It looked very light.
It looked weird. Yeah.
It looked light.
It looked very light. And he was grimacing. He had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
I don't know about that guy, man.
Something
I can't
weird
believe he came
happened
out.
there.
I'm shocked he came out of that game. He was walking around
badly. He wasn't moving well. He was really
wasn't moving well, but I feel like we've seen people play moving like that before. But I don't know. I mean,
Hoyer was better than Garoppolo was.
He was. Hoyer was better than Garoppolo, which is shocking. I didn't know that was possible.
Okay, the other big upset, Philadelphia going into New York to play the Jets. This is one of those weird triangles. Patriots, only win of the season against the Jets. The Jets beat the Eagles beat the Patriots.
Yeah, right.
These 3 teams are not equal. The Eagles have a lead at halftime. They score 0 points in the second half. Jalen Hurts throws multiple interceptions, the last of which was horrific.
Terrible.
He just stared right at the linebacker and threw it between his numbers. And then that sets up the go-ahead field goal that ends up winning the game for the Jets.
Jets
it was just horrific by Jalen Hurts.
Jets defense shut him out in the second half. Philly had 4 turnovers in this game. Man, I gotta say, I think we played the Jets at the perfect time, man, because they're getting better. They really
They are
are.
getting
Like,
better.
Well, and
man.
it's, you see that the Jets beat them, and you're like, yeah, maybe we got them at the right time, but it's like we were able to take it to them. We dominated them in all three phases of the game. And at the time, as I said, I think Ryan clipped it for some promotional advertising for our
Yeah,
show of me saying the Jets defense is actually pretty fucking good. Just because the Patriots shitty offense beat them doesn't mean they're a bad defense. And here you go. They forced 4 turnovers against one of the better teams in the league. They completely shut down Philly's run game. I mean,
Mhm.
AJ Brown went off, but besides that, no one else really did much on that team. And Zach Wilson was able to drive down at the end of the game and win it. That's the most fucking
Well, they
shocking
got
part of this whole thing.
almost all field goals, right? Like, it's not
Yeah.
like the Jets did a lot on offense. I think they had 4 field goals.
No,
Um,
they did
one
enough.
touchdown from Brees Hall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brees didn't really have a big game. I mean, offensively, they only passed for. I mean, they only had like 250, 270 total
Yeah.
yards.
And Garrett
And that
Wilson had like 90 of them. You know,
And he got hurt, didn't he? Didn't he get hurt?
I don't know.
Didn't
Might
know.
have.
Yeah, that Brees Hall touchdown was a walk-in. Here's the end zone. Ahmad
Yeah.
Bradshaw in the Super Bowl, same thing. Yeah, so those were the two big upsets on the week.
Jets are 3-3. We are 2
It's
games down.
crazy. The Jets are 3-3 right now.
Yeah, they should have been one game behind the Bills here. The Bills pulled it out on Sunday night against the Giants. Giants defense played phenomenal. Really, really frustrated the Bills. The Giants run game was really controlling the line of scrimmage on
Yeah,
offense. And I was looking at some of the
absolutely.
numbers. The Bills are, not to jump too far ahead for next week's matchup, Bills are giving up 5.4 yards per carry
Boom.
on defense. They're 31st in the NFL on a per carry basis, 25th in the NFL in total rush yards allowed.
Mhm.
They have a porous run defense, and now Matt Milano, their best tackler, is out for the season.
Mhm.
Is the
And we
season-
saw
oh,
that.
boy.
Yeah, and we saw that show up in this game where
Daquan
Saquon Barkley.
Daquan Jones is on IR too. That's another big loss. And Tre'Davious White, man, their defense is
Yeah.
banged up.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
real
almost
tough
as
shape
banged up as
for that
ours.
defense. Yeah, so the Bills were lucky, very lucky to pull it out in the end. The Giants have that bonehead. They run the ball with like 12 seconds to go and no timeouts from the 1 yard line, gets stuffed, and then no points at the end of the first half, and then
So stupid.
Waller
What's
gets.
his? You see, what's their coach's name?
Daboll.
Was freaking out on Tyrod Taylor, and Tyrod Taylor had a good. I thought he had a decent game.
I was watching him being like, can he be our quarterback? Like
Literally.
everything about he's got a smooth throwing motion, throws a nice ball, obviously moves around very well. Still, he's mid-30s, still looks great.
pretty impressive, I gotta say.
Yeah. But the Bills sneak out with the win after the goal line stop at the end of the game, which was 100% pass interference again, but they called it on the play before, so they're not going to do it again.
It's tough to call it 2 plays in a row, right?
It was. Bills sneak out with that one. A couple other games to highlight here. Seattle going to Cincinnati. We all thought Cincinnati was going to win. They end up winning this game, but really only because all of the turnovers in this one.
Yeah.
Seattle just couldn't hang on to the ball, giving the ball away in critical moments. And the Bengals didn't look great. Joe Burrow didn't have a especially good game in this one. Jamar Chase kind of held in check.
Well,
I
I
still can't get a read on this team.
It's tough. Yeah, in the first half, it looks like they came out and they were playing pretty solid. They scored 2 touchdowns in the first half, and then they kind of, I think they only scored a field goal in the second half. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they came out looking pretty good, and I remember seeing highlights and a little bit on Red Zone. It's like, oh, okay, they've got it going. Jamar Chase had a big reception, and then it just kind of all fell apart for them. But Geno threw 2 picks, so they lost.
It's tough. I think the Bengals' offensive line is really struggling.
Which is surprising. They've spent a
they have
lot of money
talent
there.
Yeah,
They've put a lot of assets there. Yeah.
Yeah, they went out and tried to address it, and it's just not working. And Joe Burrow doesn't have a lot of time. He's getting hit pretty quickly.
Yeah. Another game, Texans and the Saints. We were saying that the Saints were definitely going to have a comeback to life game in this one after they smoked the Patriots, and sure enough, they did. Derek Carr looks pedestrian again. Houston continues to win football games. The Houston Texans standing at 3-3 in the AFC South. Ryan's got a smirk on his face.
They tied
Look
for
at
that
them, man.
division,
Look
right?
at them.
Wow,
These guys, man.
Jags got it.
You got a nice little group there, man. You know, I like what they're building, but I don't think it's anywhere close to what it's going to be. But I think they hit, and it wasn't C.J. Stroud's best game by a long shot. I think it was 13 for 27, but I like him. You know, I like him as a building block, which I don't think I've ever really said about an Ohio State quarterback. I usually just don't
write him off.
Really like those guys. Yeah,
write him off right away.
Yeah, he's different. He's good, man.
Yeah, he's playing really well. Also, another one of your favorite teams, the Falcons, were playing the Commanders.
I was watching.
Commanders get the victory in this one.
They got to get Heineke in there, man. Ritter sucks. The fourth quarter, I think he threw 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken. I was happy they got Drake London involved, but I mean, I don't know. That guy, when it's on the line, I just don't trust that quarterback at all. He makes some suspect decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Washington, man. Washington's winning some games too, huh?
Washington's not going to be. Yeah, we thought that was an easy.
Everybody's 3-3.
Everyone. It's a very mixed bag this year, and even the top teams, as you just mentioned, the upsets, the Bills. The Bills look terrible. The Niners look like they're kind of falling back to earth a little bit, depending on injuries. McCaffrey, no one expects him to last a full year, so we'll see how that goes. The Dolphins were down 10-0 in this game versus the Panthers, and ended up just completely running away with it, 42-21. But at times they look like it's tough to get going, or they make mistakes. Eagles just lost, and they look worse and worse every week. I feel like they've trending in the wrong direction every single week. They look a little bit worse than they did the week before. I mean, the only one, I can't believe I'm fucking saying this, the only solid team that is proving like they're a top team is the Lions. They're the only ones that really haven't had a moment of like, what the fuck? I mean, I'm sure they have, but nothing as big as these other teams that are 5-1 like them. The Chiefs are eking these wins out and getting calls at the end of the game to make them win. The Broncos, they should have lost.
Calls they're getting, man. Are you kidding me? Well, 2 weeks ago was like the most blatant interference.
Yeah, it was bad, dude. That was so bad.
And just like against the Jets, the most ridiculous hold you'll ever see. Stone cold, you know, you read it in black and white, fucking holding all day long, and nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, they don't care.
Was it the guy took off his helmet in the fucking end zone?
Yeah, in this one.
There was 3 penalties on that play. There was a roughing the passer.
Isn't that an automatic, like, no matter what, you take your helmet off and talk to a ref, you get fucking 15.
Talk about black and white.
Roughing the passer, defensive pass interference, and he took his helmet off after the play.
Yeah, and they're like,
didn't call it.
All set.
Right.
You're good to go.
But the Chiefs look like, I mean, their clock is ticking. I mean, there's no way I can see Kelsey. Kelsey's looks like he's struggling to get up after any reception he makes. Have you seen that? He's like peels himself off the field. So I can't imagine him lasting. I can see them being someone, trade candidate for a receiver before the trade deadline, but they almost lost to the Broncos. I feel like they're looking like they're getting worse and worse as time goes on as well.
They're bad.
So I mean, it's really just feels like the Lions are the only ones that are like consistently playing good winning football.
Yeah, they got great offensive line and a powerful defensive line, and it goes awful long way.
Kelsey is 34 years old.
Yeah, he's my age.
Dude.
He's like 6 months younger than Gronk or some shit.
His usage his usage is through the fucking roof, man. The amount
he's all they have. He's the only one.
It's brutal.
He's all they got.
Like give the guy a fucking break, man. Get another tight end in there, help him out, you know?
Do something, because you need him in January. You don't need him in October.
Yeah, dude, save him.
Their next couple of games, Chargers and then the Broncos again, the Chiefs. So I expect these winning ways to continue, but eventually they're going to get into a good team coming up. Okay, last one, Dallas and the Chargers, Monday Night Football. Dallas coming off the really tough loss to San Fran where they got blown out, and they popped right back. This game started touchdown both ways, and I was like, hell yeah, it's going to be a score fest. And then the defense is locked down. Chargers defense frustrates the living shit out of me. They play this off coverage, and Dallas is just throwing slants and curl routes underneath it. I mean, 3rd and 8, and you're playing 12 yards off the ball, and they're going to throw a 9-yard curl. Like, what in the fuck are you doing? Brandon
their
Staley,
head coach is a goddamn fucking defensive guy.
he is so bad. He's so bad.
It looks like he's calling the plays on defense too.
He is calling the plays.
Yeah,
or at least he's got the play sheet and he's doing the whole thing. But at the end, it comes down once again. This is becoming a real story. Justin Herbert can't do it in the 2-minute drill. He looks the part. He's everything. I'm a huge fan of his. He was pretty inaccurate in this game. I would say he's got the busted up finger on his non-throwing hand.
Yeah.
Not that should really affect your accuracy that much, but his accuracy was off. And then the other thing, oh my God, it's like they didn't know who Micah Parsons was. I don't know who the Chargers right tackle is, but he was getting abused by Micah Parsons.
Pipkins. Trey Pipkins. Yeah.
Abused the whole time. And they refused to put a running back over there, put a tight end over there, slant the line over that way. I mean, anything. They were just like, oh yeah, you got 11. It's like, that's Micah fucking Parsons.
Yeah.
What are you doing? He's wrecking your game, and he wrecked the entire 4th quarter, including the 2-minute drill.
They had no run
once
game
again,
to speak of.
Herbert didn't get it going.
They had no run game to speak of.
Yeah, they're getting shut
all
down.
game long. They're getting shut down. Eckler couldn't do anything.
Really on both sides, though. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a weird game, man. There was a punt that I thought was fucking wild. I want to say the Cowboys
were receiving the punt.
We're receiving the punt, and then a Chargers player ran into the blocker and basically like knocked the blocker into the punt returner.
And then everyone was confused.
No one touches it. No one touches it.
But everyone assumed somebody touched it.
I mean, the guy called for a fair catch, and he's getting somebody destroyed into him. I think that they should change that rule. Like, if you smash someone into the guy fair catching the ball, you're supposed to give him 2 yards.
Yeah, that's not fair. I don't think that's a fair rule either, yeah.
You know, that one didn't make any sense to me, the way they called it. And they're like, oh, it's the right call. I'm like, yeah, but maybe it shouldn't be, because that's bullshit, man. It's a dangerous enough play as it is. Like,
well, isn't that technically holding? If you take a player and throw him into something?
No, I mean, he pushed him into him.
Yeah, it was a shove, but it wasn't like hold. Herbert had one play in this game, man. He dropped his arm angle and threw it like almost underhand, like 100 fucking miles an hour to a guy in the flat. It was fucking incredible, but
he throws the hardest ball in the league.
Those
guys must have mangled fingers trying to catch. He throws fastballs 6 yards.
Did you see a couple weeks ago when he threw like a 5-yard pass over the middle in the end zone? Threw it like 200 miles an hour at the guy. He caught it. I was like, how the fuck did he catch?
How did he catch it? How are your hands still intact?
Oh my God.
Yeah, he also missed. Keenan Allen ran out and up at the bottom on the left sideline, and he was wide open, and he missed him.
I saw that.
They need to get Quentin Johnston going, man. 2
He's
targets,
not doing
no catches,
shit.
Nothing.
Hasn't done a damn thing, and they need him too with Mike Williams being out.
Yeah.
They need him to step up, man. He didn't do shit.
He went one pick before Jordan Addison. Is that a Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson thing?
Could be. A lot of people were
down
on him.
It's definitely
coming
too
out of
early.
TCU.
But...
They were like, I don't know if he's got it.
Yeah.
Man, Minnesota's another one. Fucking. I know they won this week. They beat Chicago. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, what are they? 2 and 4.
2 and 4. Better than us.
I mean, they're one of those teams that's gonna, if they don't start winning some games, they're gonna have to talk about rebuilding too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're gonna replace that coach. I think that coach is good to go, but I mean, maybe
everything else.
Yeah,
everything else is up for grabs except for Justin Jefferson. Trade deadline is on Halloween, 2 weeks from when we're recording this, Tuesday the 17th. Okay, let's talk about Patriots Bills. There's really not much to go over here. We haven't beat the Bills since there was a monsoon in Buffalo in 2020, 2021, I believe.
It was a blizzard, wasn't it?
Freezing,
whatever. I don't know. Monsoons are like, I don't know where that's a tropical thing or Pacific thing.
We threw 3 passes.
Yeah. So throw that one out, and you got to go back to like 2019. You got to go back to Tom Brady.
Brady. Yeah.
So I think essentially we have no chance in this game.
Yeah.
The way our defense looked, I don't think we have a chance to both. Well, we're going to have a really difficult time covering anybody. We never cover Stephon Diggs. Did a great job against Devontae Adams. We typically do a good job against number one receivers. Stephon Diggs defies that rule for us. He always plays well. And then stopping the running game. The Bills have been getting their running game going this season. I've been very, very surprised how well James Cook has played. So being able to do both of those things, plus contain Josh Allen, plus get him to the ground or get anywhere near him, I think they're going to get 30 points easy. And then us on offense, I mean, if we can get like 40 rushes in this game, I mean, we can do 40 rushes for 200 yards and get 38 minutes of time possession. That's going to help.
Yeah, that's a good
shorten
recipe.
the game.
I mean,
but then the two games the Bills lost, and then if you throw in the Giants game to that, it's turnovers. The Bills are like -7 on turnovers in those 3 games, those close games that they've played. Otherwise, they are number 2 in the NFL in point differential, plus 84. Yeah. Patriots are 31st in point differential, -80.
Jesus
this is going to be a bloodbath. This is going to be a bad one.
It could be bad. It could be real bad.
Yeah. I'm going Bills 30, Pats 10. I think it's
okay. So you're talking another blowout. I'm going to be a little more of an optimist here. We've had a rough go of it. This is the type of game, when there's a bad team, a good team that's struggling, sometimes, they look past it a little bit. I know it's the Patriots. They're probably not going to look past us. They've got a Thursday night game coming up after this. Then they've got 2 night games coming up after that. So they've got 3 night games coming up. I don't know if they kind of look past us a little bit. And, I feel like a little bit of a trap game. If the roles were reversed here, like they were for so many years, the Bills always played us tough. So I do believe the Patriots are going to go there and play a tough game. The Bills have been struggling defending the run, as you mentioned. I feel like that's what we got to do. That's our recipe. Fucking run the ball. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Get some of these younger receivers, as I mentioned earlier. Get Thornton. Have him start. Have him get fucking 80% of the snaps out there. See if he got something. See if he can make something happen, or if he's a game, he's a gamer or a baller a little bit. And their offense is, when it's on, and when it's off, it's not looking good. When it's off, it really looks like, Diggs is the only one they can go to, and Gabe Davis kind of disappears for spouts. Kincaid disappears for a lot. Knox isn't really doing a ton at tight end this year at all. It really depends on which Buffalo Bills team shows up. If the same team shows up as last week, and as you mentioned, Sean, you can do 40 carries for 200 yards, I think there's a chance you win this. I really do. There's a small pequeño chance. But there is a chance because Josh Allen hasn't looked like himself. He's got 13 TDs, 6 interceptions, and the interceptions he's thrown have been bad. They've been real bad. He's not running the ball as much. He's trying to stay in the pocket a little bit more this season. And he usually just kills us on that. It's like he goes to Diggs or he runs it, and we really can't stop it. So it all depends on which team shows up. I hope a Bills team shows up that is looking into the next weeks, is looking into Thursday night, is like, oh, the Patriots absolutely suck. We're going to beat the crap out of them no matter what we do. And we kind of take them by surprise. Now, I'm not going to pick the Patriots. I'm going to pick
all that to not pick the Patriots.
All that, yeah. Should I pick the Patriots? I mean, at this point, I feel like it's a fruitless effort of me picking the Patriots because they can't. They're 1-5. I'll have it a real close game. What?
I don't think you can maintain credibility and pick the Patriots.
Right, that's the thing. So I'm gonna have it as a close game. I really hope I'm wrong and we somehow win and the score is reversed, but I'm going to say 23-17. Bills win, unfortunately.
It's a close one. I'm just looking at the Bills' weaknesses, right? Like turnovers. We don't turn the ball over on defense. We can't capitalize on that. Rushing defense. I think they're like 25th in the league or something like that. Well, we can't run the ball. So, I mean, we can't do anything on offense, really. I'm feeling like maybe we can attack their secondary a little bit. They're banged up. I would like to see us get the passing game going a little bit more. I think you're right to an extent. Like I don't think this defense is where it should be with all the injuries. I think we could take advantage of that a little bit. Um, but I think that their offense is just too much, and there's no way we can keep pace with their offense. So I'm gonna go Buffalo 34, Patriots 20.
Hey,
Wow, get
some
to 20.
scoring right
Okay.
there.
I mean, one thing that does scare me a lot is this team gets after the quarterback. They've got 24 sacks on the year, which is pretty fucking good. I know you said Daquan Jones is out, right? You said he's done?
Daquan Dufford's
And
he's on IR, so I don't know.
IR, so he's not coming back for this game anyways. Was it
If
Leonard Floyd?
Leonard Floyd's been
kicking
great
ass
for
from
them.
them. Von Miller just came back a week ago. He didn't look like himself, but maybe he just needed a game to kind of get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't look good against the Giants, and the Giants are as bad as us. The Giants are one of the few teams that are as fucking terrible as the Patriots right now in terms of offensive line, no offensive talent. It's very similarly.
They've got the same issues as us.
They've got the same issues, and they brought them down to the fourth quarter, and I thought should have won. They were on the goal line. They were right there. They had a chance, and they didn't do it. It was a Sunday night. It's in a big spot. This is a 1:00 game. Maybe that makes a difference. I don't know. But they took it to them. It was 14-9. Now, if the fucking Bills were able to just – I'm sorry. If the Giants were able to make a score at the end of the second half, this game would have looked different. They would have won. So that big mistake, they lost. I'm kind of happy the Bills did win because they're, if they lost, I feel like they would have come out and kicked the absolute shit out of us for a rebound game. But because they won, psychologically, maybe they're like, oh, yeah, we still got it. And the Patriots can catch them on a bad day. That's the only chance we got.
They have quite a few guys that can get after the passer too, or get after the quarterback too. Epinesa is there. Dorian Williams, I don't really think they use him as a blitzer, but Greg Rousseau, kid from Miami, drafted him. Yeah, Ed Oliver. They got some players there, even with the injuries. So Shaq Lawson, is he there too?
He's I think so. I think he is there. Or maybe they just cut him or he retired. I feel like he was just in the news for something. But yeah, they've got kind of a pass rush by committee right now. And when Von Miller gets there, they'll have even more firepower. If the Pats can get a lot of these guys healthy for this week, it could help a lot, particularly in the defensive backfield. They're going to need bodies out there to cover some of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Other games this week. What do I got? Primetime games, Jags and Saints on Thursday. Don't care about this game at all.
No, but I'll watch.
The Jaguars are back in America. Hey, that's something. Sunday night, Miami and Philadelphia.
Best matchup of the year so far.
What a fucking great game that is.
Finally.
That's a good one. Eagles are going to be pissed that they lost last week.
So pissed, but how are they going to deal with that? Nobody's figured out. I saw a stat today that Miami is averaging over 8 yards per offensive play, and nobody else in the NFL is averaging even 6.
Because they have so many big fuking plays.
Dude,
from the running game to the receivers, it's like no one, anyone can break it at any time.
I never could have imagined, and the way they ran this play the other day. I think McDaniel's a really fucking creative play caller.
He is.
They used this play the other day where it was like offset formation, and they had motion, and they used the motion to throw the screen, and the other guy in like the wing back came around and blocked for him before the guy caught the ball. It was fucking brilliant. I don't think I've ever seen that play before. They're fun to watch, man. I can't stand them, but
yeah,
man, Mostert, I never would.
Where did he come from?
In a million years, thought Mostert could do what he's doing right now.
I mean,
Tyreek Hill has almost 1,000 yards already. It's week 6. He's got 840 yards or something like that.
It's ridiculous.
He's gonna break the record this year.
I mean, the running backs alone. You mentioned Mostert, A-Chain. No one he's hurt, but he came in. He was expected to be, maybe he'll get some time. Like he's not a top guy by any means, but he's fast. He's average. He's hurt right now.
Both those guys, just pure speed. That's it.
He's averaging fucking 10 yards a carry or something.
More than that. I think it was 12 or something.
Absurd. And then he gets hurt. Well, Mostert by himself won't be able to do it. No, he just runs for like 150 yards with a couple TDs. Like, no issue whatsoever. And McDaniels was the guru for rushing back and forth in San Francisco before he got the Niners job. That dude knows how to a run scheme. I don't know what he's doing, but the Patriots should take a look at him and be like, maybe we should adopt some of this. I don't know if that's what we tried to do last year and we just couldn't pull it off because we sucked at it. But
I'm just looking at Ben Johnson right now. Like, get that fucking guy over here.
the guy
from Detroit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, Philly's gonna have their hands full. I can't wait to see that game. That's gonna be a fantastic one.
Yeah.
Monday night, not so much. San Fran at the Vikings. San Fran's depleted right now. The Vikings are
That's a
below
game.
average
Also watch.
team.
What a shame. Preseason, I would have been like, oh, it's a fucking good game. Like,
Right.
Vikings suck.
Just to throw this out there, right now, Miami as a team, okay, this is with all the scrubs, is averaging 6.5 yards per carry.
Jesus.
It's crazy.
That's like
Patriots are averaging 3.4.
I've never even seen that from a team statistic. Their top 3 running backs were all averaging over 5 yards a carry.
It's
It's
crazy.
like that
dude.
doesn't even make sense.
God damn. Good for them. Good for them.
Dude, it's because of Robbie Chosen.
Yeah,
Robbie
exactly.
Dude, he changed his fucking last name to Chosen.
Chosen. Yeah. And then he
Oh.
doesn't get on the field. That's the fun part.
Chosen for the bench.
Chosen to be
Literally.
in the background.
Yeah.
Okay. Couple must-watch games. There are a couple other good ones here. Lions at the Ravens. We've been talking about how good the Lions have been. The Ravens have been up and down, up and down. Another team I have a very difficult time getting a read on. But that's going to be a smash mouth game between those two squads. It's in Baltimore. It's going to be outside. Yeah. Who knows what the weather's going to be? Jared Goff in the weather. I don't know. Maybe that storyline is overplayed at this point. I'll bring it back up in January, no doubt. But that's going to be a good matchup for those two teams.
Yeah. Baltimore's a tough place to go. And that defense, they're always tough, even if they're not up to previous season standards. Kyle Hamilton got kicked out of the game last week for a hit. I watched that. That was crazy. I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad, but I don't know, man. It's hard to stop the Lions right now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
They got Jameson Williams back last week. He fucking scored like a 45-yard touchdown.
Yeah, he did a speed turn. He's running a post, and then he turns all the way, turns his back to the ball, and then catches it like out in front of him. It was like he needed just to slow down. He did a full pirouette just to slow down to catch the ball.
Dude, it's exciting there, man. Amon-Ra St. Brown continues to kill it. Laporta, they just got a lot of fucking weapons, man. I was watching the Ravens, and I don't know, man. Something about their scheme just doesn't seem like it's putting the receivers in the best position. Zay Flowers, they use him in the backfield, coming out of the backfield, motion. They're trying to get creative with him. I think he did have a touchdown last week. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm finding it hard to pick against the Lions right now.
Same.
Yeah, I'd take the Lions. It's on the road, but
yeah.
Falcons, Buccaneers.
Oh, you love that NFC South. You can't get enough of the South divisions.
Anybody could win it, dude. Anybody can win it.
This is true.
Bucks
the tickets for that game are going
playing.
for as low as $31. Right, you might want to go fly out there for that. It might be worth it.
Bucks had a tough time with the Lions, as a lot of teams are having right now. I still like that Bucks team. I like the way that their defensive line can dominate the run game.
Yeah.
I was very wrong about the Bucks. Like, they're just playing hard, and Baker Mayfield's done a really good job there, and I didn't think he would, but he's been pretty good, man. I just want to see Ritter benched for Heineke, and I think that if the Falcons do that, I think they'll get some momentum, and they could win that game.
Yeah, I'd take the Bucks in this game, given the Ritter factor and the strength of the Bucks defense against the only thing the Falcons can do offensively, which is run the ball. Chargers at Kansas City. We alluded to this game earlier. Chargers can't seem to pull anything out in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs can't help but to pull out games in the fourth quarter.
Right.
So I think it's like preordained. The Chiefs are going to win this game.
I don't know, man.
It's still a lot of firepower on the field.
Kansas City, like I said earlier in the show, has been trending in the wrong direction every week. It's like they're barely getting out of these, and at some point their luck's going to run out, and I am hoping it's this week against the Chargers, because the Chargers usually play them pretty good. I don't remember their record in past seasons right off the top of my head, but I feel like it's always close games. And the Chiefs have been playing dogs, right? They've been playing some bad teams lately, so to face a talented squad, I'm curious to see how they pull it out. I'm gonna pick the Chargers here just because.
Okay.
I feel like the only team. Well, the Chargers have had 2 big wins all season. They beat the shit out of the Cardinals. I'm talking about the Chiefs. The Chiefs beat the shit out of the Cardinals and the Bears. Other than that, I mean, they could have lost to the Jets. Denver kind of gave them a game. Minnesota kind of gave them a game.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions beat them by 1. I haven't been over. They lost to the Saints, right? 26-24, week 1.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The Chiefs, to me, are struggling. And
I agree.
And the Chargers need a win. Chargers are 2-3. They can't go 2-4. You know, they need to get right. So I'm going to go with the Chargers here.
Damn. Can't believe it.
And it's in Kansas City, which is tough.
Boom.
I know.
Believe it, kid.
One.
Yeah, but it would be mostly Chiefs fans, even if it was played in LA.
Yeah,
that's true. That's sad.
It is sad. Did you hear all the Cowboys fans on Monday night? It was nuts. It was a Cowboys home game.
No, how about the Patriots fans in Vegas?
Yeah,
there were a lot of them.
There were a lot, dude.
Yeah, those trips were booked before they knew which team was going to show up.
Definitely.
6 teams on the bye this week. This is where we really get into the meat of the buys. So not way fewer games, 3 fewer games this week, and consequently fewer good matchups. The only other one I'm kind of looking at is the Steelers at the Rams.
Yeah,
the Rams should. I feel like the Rams should win that game. I think the Steelers are terrible, dude.
I think they are too, but they have a winning record. How are they doing it?
I don't.
They have a winning record. What's their record?
3-2.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like they're similarly matched teams where
you nailed similarly right there.
There you go. Look at that. I was struggling real hard back there with that, but you know, it's like I know the Rams have a veteran quarterback versus Pickens is a young guy, but Pickett. Sorry, Pickens is the receiver there. Thank you. Just trying to get things going. People, there was. I don't know, a little bit of an expectation for both teams going in. I mean, the Rams not so much, but after week 1, I feel like they got up a little bit. They got a really good receiving core now. They just got their big boy back over there at receiver, so they've got some firepower. And Pittsburgh somehow just always pulls it out. I don't know.
Kyron Williams
in the fourth quarter.
Kyron Williams killing it. He's like top 5 in the NFL in rushing.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah,
their offense is good, man. Make no mistake. And they've patched together that offensive line, so it's kind of working. Which
McVay's doing a great job.
Yeah.
He's doing a great job this year.
I think last week you said it might be his best coaching job. I agree, man. They're playing way better than I was expecting. So
this was supposed to be their year, their cap year, where they got crushed because they couldn't afford to sign anyone, and they're pretty good.
Kenny Pickett's got a 57 grade on the year. I don't know how they're winning games, honestly.
It is a joke. Well, it's complete futility for 50 minutes and then hit George Pickens for a miraculous 70-yard bomb.
They got to be
mostly yak yards.
Canada to get the fuck out of there, right? Like
everybody is. Everybody is.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah, that's kind of it. There's Cleveland at Indianapolis. The Browns defense is going to put Gardner Minshew in a box. The Raiders at Chicago. Who knows who's going to start at quarterback for the Raiders? I'd love to see Aiden O'Connell again.
Dude, I would love to see Hoyer. Actually, you know what? This is a good game for the Bears to win. If the Bears win this game, we move up another draft spot.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Hey, already playing the draft game.
Dude, I was thinking about the draft like during the Dallas game, like early in the Dallas game. I'm like, this is fucking.
Yeah. Well, do you want to do a quick college football minute?
Yeah, sure.
USC goes into Notre Dame. Caleb Williams throws 3 first half interceptions. Yeah. Some of them were just god awful. I mean,
he had a stinker.
he had the worst game of his career, probably going all the way back to Oklahoma. And at the same time, Drake May was playing. Drake May, the UNC quarterback, was playing against Miami, and it was a tight game. I thought he was getting outplayed in the first half by Miami's quarterback, Van Dyke. I want to say his name is
Tyler Van Dyke. Went to Suffield Academy, and my buddy was the head groundskeeper at Suffield Academy, Chase.
Oh,
and so they know the kid. That's crazy. Suffield is in Connecticut.
Oh, cool. Okay. That guy's tough as nails. He was getting rocked. Van Dyke was. Drake May ends up pulling it out in the second half. Caleb Williams not so lucky. Hartman. I think Ryan Hartman, Notre Dame quarterback.
Sam Hartman. Wake Forest graduate transfer to Notre Dame. Yeah.
He's I haven't made up my mind about him, but he's got great movement, good balance, a pretty good arm, accurate, seems poised. Like him
too. He could get drafted late. Yeah.
He's probably a mid-round guy, not the same high-level talent that those other two guys have, but Caleb Williams, it jumps off the page or just off the screen. His mobility and his like highlight reel throws, even some of the times when he's unbalanced and he throws it down the field to the sideline, it's like still even if they don't catch it, it's an on the money throw. Like, how's he fucking doing that?
He's got everything what do you guys want. And one bad game does not.
You don't think it's going to affect anything?
No, I'm not going to crucify him after one bad game.
No, not crucify him. I'm just talking. You think he's still, without a doubt, number one pick next year?
Oh, without a doubt.
Well, he's got. Okay. I think they're playing Washington next week, and Washington just had a great win over Oregon.
Dude, that was the game. If you want to watch quarterbacks, I watched that game last week. It was awesome. Michael Penix Jr. for Washington, absolutely crushing it. Bo Nix for Oregon.
Oh yeah, Bo Nix.
So you're talking about the third and fourth probably quarterbacks that are going to be taken in the draft. Penix edged it out. Huge win for that school.
That program, yeah.
They were both undefeated. I think they were 7-8. I think in the country.
They were both top 10. Yeah.
And it was game came down to the wire. They both played really well. That was a fun game. You can go back
and
I
think
YouTube.
USC has to play those two teams the next 2 weeks. So Caleb Williams is going to have a chance in a big position over the next 2 weeks to right that wrong.
Yeah, Penix actually. It's weird for me to watch lefties. I always have a harder time evaluating lefties. It just looks unnatural to me. But that's just that's just me. I guess.
I mean, before Tua, there wasn't a lefty since Michael Vick.
Wow. Yeah, I think
back to even backups, Steve like they just don't exist.
I know.
It's weird.
A change of pace. Penix has a 93.4. He's the number one PFF grade in the country. So, and what's his name was up there? Caleb Williams is up there, but this one brought him down. Caleb Williams, just the talent level though, I think
it's on another.
It's on a different level. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure.
Even though he's short, and I always have a tough time with that. But
6'1", it's not horrible. It's not Bryce Young,
Yeah, it's not far off it though. Okay, so that'll be week 7 coming up again. 6 teams on the bye. Patriots hosting the Bills, noon game. Great Sunday night game. Dolphins and Eagles. Yeah, we're gonna cross our fingers we can get some of these injured guys back on the field. Keep Mac upright. Run the ball. Take the ball away. Everything's got to go right for this to happen. As JJ pointed out, it's possible. It could happen.
Possible.
Crazier things have happened.
Crazier things have happened.
It is the NFL. Anyone can win in any week of the NFL, no matter how bad you are.
Yeah. Can we call in a nor'easter for this game? That would be helpful as well. All right. Well, that'll do it for us. Thank you guys for listening. Again, please remember to subscribe and rate and review, like these videos, this podcast. We appreciate you guys supporting us. And we'll be back next week.
All right, guys. See ya.
Adios.